So Transformers Armada is a pretty good show. It makes some very interesting changes to the TF mythos while retaining enough for the show to be respectable of what came before it, and one of the new things that it adds is the character of Hotshot, who is really bland and annoying in my opinion. While I don't find myself to be a massive fan of the character, his design is pretty good, and that design is represented pretty well by the Legacy Evolution Armada Universe Hotshot. This figure carries a lot of the important details of the Armada design without many changes, unlike the previous Prime Universe figures. The body has all the important cues from the design, like the weird straps across his torso, sculpting to replicate the shin wheels, and a basically unchanged head sculpt. Some of the detail does seem a little out of focus due to the colour of yellow on the go here. There is very little paint on display to accentuate the smaller details, which leaves the robot a little too toyish looking for my liking. And that isn't helped in any way, shape or form by the mountainous kibble piles coming off his back and calves. These are just plainly awful, and are visible from just about every angle. The kibble here causes a lot of hassle in the robot mode, the knees and backward rotation of the arms are massively hindered by the kibble, and the figure suffers for it quite a lot. The singular accessory here is nothing to write home about either, being just a piece of the alt mode, with one of those god-awful double off-centered pegs for the sake of the parts forming. He does have a couple of cool gimmicks to make up for it, like a nice flip-down visor with some admittedly nice detail, and a pretty cool wheel cannon, just like the original toy and show. I'm really glad that it's included, and to its credit, it's pretty fun. Posability is nothing special here, unfortunately. He does have everything you really want aside from wrists, but the knees don't quite bend 90 degrees and you have to maneuver kibble to make any large movements with them. The arms are fine, but they have weird proportions so they don't bend as much as I want them to, and the head can only swivel. Despite all the issues with this robot mode, he does have one massive saving grace. This figure feels really solid in hand. All the joints are perfectly tight and he can balance really well despite his kibble. The solidity kind of saves my enjoyment of the robot mode here, although I don't feel that it dismisses the other problems completely. I'll admit, I do really like this transformation. It does some really interesting things and comes together pretty satisfyingly, and it all moves around itself in ways that you just don't see very often. You are left after the transformation with this ugly little recess where you have to plot the awful gun to complete the look, leaving you with a car mode that, I won't lie to you, the car mode here is exactly what it's trying to be, and it's fantastic. It looks and feels really solid and chunky. It really reflects the proportions of the chunk factor of Armada Optimus, and the deco here really shines. The roof is entirely painted clear plastic, so be careful not to slap?
What do you mean slap?
Be careful not to snap the clear tabs. And while we're here, the colour matching isn't great in person. Yellow on clear blue plastic, it doesn't really marry too well. I suppose it works. The overwhelming amounts of yellow here don't feel like as much of a downside as in the robot mode, partly because there's less mechanical detail that it's soaking up, but if it does annoy you, there is a red one you can grab instead, which I don't have, but I know someone who does. Roll the tape, boyo!
Okie dokie. So, I've been forced to review this by the Batty, the Loubat. I know he's doing a Armada Hotshot review right now, and I bought the ultimately better version than him. So, this guy's colours differ quite a bit from the original design. The original design is primarily yellow and has no black or little black. I'm going off the top of my head here. But it only comes with him and his shitty engine block gun, which I've lost, but Louie's got it and I'm fairly certain it's the same. This guy is the exact same mould, literally the exact same mould. Everything's the same apart from the colours. It's basically just a recolour of this. I don't think they've changed anything. With this version, you get the tiny little guy, Jolt, with his free spinning propeller. Jolt is excellent. He's not got much articulation, but that's because he's a minicon. He's very nice, very tasty. I don't know why we're looking at his ass. I'm just gonna see if I can transform him on camera here for you. Fucking spin round, and there we go. Tiny Jolt in his tiny little mode. There's his little head. It's got a hole here for you to plug, I don't know, whatever you want, preferably not your willy. And then he's got this little 5mm peg. There you go. So that can sit on the back in robot mode. Yes, I have an issue with this one where this bit likes to tab in nicely, but this one not so much. You can see that. And if we get that up, and what else comes with this? Not one, but 2 sets of blast effects, so that is 6 parts in total, and we're going to make him Can't do it that way, you've got to flip it around this way, and there's a better hole specifically designed for that. And then you peg that in, and it makes him look fucking overpowered. Now I shall cut to the transformed. Right, we are back with the... oh, not my camera. With the transformed... oh, bollocks, I forgot the other guns. Gun number 1. Gun number 2. Now we find the engine block. Engine block. That didn't slide onto camera as nice as I thought it would. Engine block, so I think that's pretty much the same. This one's a very nice deep black. Yes, also with the Powerlinx version of Hotshot, you get this weird gun with the magazine right at the front, because, yeah, which also has a peg that you can pull out and get to hold, and another peg in which you can get to hold. I think my favourite is probably this one, just because it has the mag on it. But yes, of course, they're compatible with the blast effects, because these are the Jetfire blast effects. So, this is the... no, it's not. This is the car mode. So, without the engine block, yeah, you get 2 big fucking nose holes. And without Jolt plugged in, you have this big peg. I think that's also on the one that Loubat has. There we go. Also, yeah, so Jolt kind of folds down a bit. It looks cool to me. It's like a big boat thing with a propeller on it. Stick them in there. See, I think it's cool, but unless I've got that maybe plugged in wrong, I don't think I do. I think that's how it tells you on the instructions. There you go. So that is Powerlinx Hotshot in robot mode and alt mode, with Jolt in his robot mode, alt mode, and bending over backward for Hotshot mode. There you go. Now fucking subscribe to me.
Overall, this figure is pretty charming. It does a lot of the fun parts, like the alt mode, the gimmicks, and the transformation, a lot of justice. But that all seems to be at the expense of a concise robot mode. If you don't mind the kibble or you're looking to finish the Legacy Armada set, then he's definitely worth the pickup. But if not, then you might be better off waiting for the Cybertron version to drop.